Yeah, this is the second part of the altitude sensor, AS895A from ARC. So let's open the sensor assembly here to see what is inside. There are 3 screws here. Okay, very nice. Okay, so this seems to be the motor, or this one, probably. And the other one is maybe the tachometer, as I suspected. Actually, they are identical because they are DC motors. Probably one is used as a motor, the second one as a tachometer. So there is one capsule here. Okay, so the photo sensor is inside this thing, so it is protected from the ambient light. Thank you very much. Okay, so you can see that this thing is easy to understand. The expansion of the capsules provides the movement of this metal shape here, and this permits to change the amount of light. So this is maybe there is a photo sensor which is here. Probably this is a photo transistor, and this should be an LED or something like that. And there is a screw here with a small thread in the middle. So when the motor will change the position of the capsules in order to recover the 0 position on the top side. So the gears are simple. There are no backlash compensation. You can see that there is a small play on this gear. This is not the same quality than other sensors I had on my hands. So we can see that we have several reduction gear. So the motor has the smallest pinion, so this is this one. So there is one reduction here, which goes to the tachometer here, another one here, another one here, and another one here. And this pinion drives the shaft of this capsule here. So we can see that we have also 2 limit switches here. So maybe they are connected in series with the DC motor. There is a common point. Okay, so it seems the switches are connected in series and maybe in series with the motor. It can be easy. I will test the continuity of the DC motor here. I will change the threshold. Okay, and I will try to switch. Okay. The switches here are connected in series with the DC motor. So the motor will stop when one of these limits is achieved. Okay, so it is important now to know the pinout for the photocells, because we have 5 wires, 3 for the photocells here, because actually it's a differential photocells. So there is one common and probably and 2 others which are connected maybe in parallel or in series, or maybe not, because the 3 terminals are independent here, and also the supply for the light here. So I don't know if it is an LED or a bulb or something like that. We can test with the continuity tester. I will configure my DMM in diode mode. Okay. There is a very small voltage, so this is resistive. I will place the multimeter in ohm meter. So there is a resistance of 8 ohms or something like that. Okay. So let's see the connection of this bulb. This is probably a bulb. Okay, so one is connected to pin 2, which is the ground, and the second one, so first one, 4. And the second one, it is the Sunday morning and I am tired. It is not this connector, but this one. Okay, I understand. I forgot in my schematics to draw this small power supply with this Zener diode and this resistor. So this is connected to pin 4. So this is the power supply actually of the bulb. This Zener diode and the power resistor, which is on the cover. I will draw the sensor on the top left of this page. So first I will add the tachometer. So the tachometer, I will draw a tachometer here, for example. So now I will draw the link here. This is number 5. The second terminal of the tachometer is connected to the ground, to terminal number 2. So now we have the zero detector. So there is first the bulb. So I will draw the bulb here, for example, because this will go to the sensor. So I will draw the bulb by there. One is connected also to the ground. So pin 1 here is 28 volts actually. And this is connected to pin 4. So I will place the resistor here first. Okay, and the Zener diode is connected. So between this terminal and terminal 2, so I will represent the Zener diode here. It will be easier to understand. Okay, so this is number 2. 4.7 volts. Okay. So this for the power supply of the bulb. And now there is a photocell which should be connected to this input. So let's see the photocells. We have 3 terminals connected to number 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, but this is input. So we have here a photocell. So I don't know if it is a phototransistor or something. So for the moment I will represent this by a square block like this. And this is number 6. And there are 2 other terminals. So this is the orange. Then we have this terminal, the brown terminal, which is connected. Okay, the last one, number 9. Okay, and you can see that the number 9 is connected to plus 10 volts here. this is the brown. And there is another one which should be connected to minus 10 volts normally. So the second one is the yellow. Okay, so this is red, so this is minus 10. Okay, and here there is something like that. And this is mechanically connected to the motor. Okay, so this is a complete electromechanical schematic. So we have everything now to perform the tests on this thing. So it can be interesting to know the reference of this sensor, but I don't want to remove this because maybe it will be difficult to replace. Let's try if it is easy to remove. Okay, this is just photoresistors. So this provides a kind of half bridge. So this is important to know because actually the power supplies of this thing are very important, because if there is a change between these two power supplies, so this will change the zero detection here. So this is a strange design, because in my opinion it should be better if this input here was not connected to the ground but connected to a mid supply from these two voltages. This way the center point of these photo cells will be always at the same voltage than this thing. So in this case it will be more or less independent of the variation, because with this design it is absolutely necessary that these two voltages are very stable. This is strange. But okay, but we can measure the resistance of this photocell, so actually we can note the reference of this thing. So this is CL705L. So actually there are two photocells here. And this is CL705L. So in my opinion, the issue of this system is that this voltage here depends, of course, of the light here, but depends also on the power supply, because if you change the power supply, you will change the zero, and there will be a change on the measurement here. It would be much better if this point here was connected to a voltage divider, plus 10, minus 10, and this connected here. In this case, there will be a tracking of the power supply voltages, and if there is a change of power supply, so this voltage will change, will be a little bit above or below the ground, but this will be the same for this voltage. So the behavior of the zero detector will not depend on the power supplies, which is the case with this design. So anyway, we have everything to perform the test now. So I will reinstall the photocell, and I will connect this thing to a power supply. So we need 3 power supplies, one 28 volts for the motor control, and plus or minus 10 volts for the analog stuff, for the op-amp and these voltages here. And we can check also the behavior of the circuit when there is a change of the power supplies. So I have connected this board to a power supply, 28 volts and plus or minus 10. But it seems that there is a big problem with this socket here, because this terminal has a voltage of 12 volts, which is normally connected to this resistor, and this is 0.7 volts. So there is a contact problem. This is maybe the failure of this instrument. Okay, I have changed this socket because actually one pin was broken inside here. So I have used 3 pins of this connector. It fits perfectly. So I have soldered also this resistor. Okay, so let's turn on the power supply. Plus and minus 10 and 24 volts. Okay, so you can see that this thing seems working. But as you can see, there is a sensitivity to ambient light. So I can try to change the position of the capsule. You can see that there is a response. Okay, I will try to change a little bit the power supply voltage, the plus 10 volts. So this is 10 volts and 10.1. So we can see that there is a change of the zero position when the power supply changes. So I will show you the DMM also. I will connect, I will use this one. So I'm connecting this terminal to plus 10 volts. I have to disconnect the power supply. Okay. Okay, so this will be difficult. I will try to change the position and to make a zoom. Okay, so I will change the power supply from 10.3. So you can see the effect of the power supply. It is not very big, but there is a change. So now I would like to make a modification on this board. I will remove this resistor here, 18 kilo ohms, and I will connect instead this resistor two resistors of 36 kilo ohm. So twice this value in order to have the compensation of the bias current here. So 36 kilo ohms here from this point to minus 10 and the same to plus 10, and we will see the difference. Okay, I have placed a black dot on this pinion here, and then we can determine how much the plus 10 voltage should be changed in order to have, for example, 1 turn variation. So we can set the mark from this screw here. So for the moment, It is the original circuit. No, sorry, it is the modification I have done. So with two resistors of 36 kilo ohm connected to plus 10 volts and minus 10 volts here. So let's see this configuration first. So of course it is sensitive to light. Okay, so this is approximately the case. So I will change the voltage. So I will apply a new voltage here. Okay, and I will increase the voltage in order to have one complete turn. Okay, so one complete turn is performed with a voltage of 1.6 volt. Okay, so I will do the same with the original configuration. Okay, so I will increase the voltage in order to have one complete turn. Okay, so this is 0.6 volt. (0.5). Okay. So actually this configuration is more sensitive to power supply, 3 times more sensitive than the modification using two resistors connected to the power supply. Just using these two resistors, we can divide by 3 the influence of the power supply. So now I will reinstall the cover of this capsule assembly here, and we can make some tests with an air pressure. Because unfortunately with the altitude transducer it is not possible to see the movement of all the gears. It is possible when you use an airspeed sensor, because in this case you apply your pressure inside the capsule, but here the pressure should be outside the capsule. So it can be also possible maybe to find a glass cover which can fit perfectly this diameter, but this can be difficult to find. So I reinstall the cover and perform some tests on this device. So this black dust is probably caused by the wear of the coil on the DC motor here. So I have connected the capsule assembly here to an air pressure generator. Here it is configured in negative pressure. The pressure is indicated by this manometer here. So it is possible to activate the relay by this switch. So the activation of the relay permits to disconnect the motor to the servo control loop. This way the measurement of the variation of altitude is possible. So the measurement signal is measured by this multimeter here. So when the loop is closed, this voltage will be always 0 volt, at least close to 0. When the control loop is stabilized, of course. So I'm going to decrease the absolute pressure in order to simulate a climb of altitude. Okay, we can see that the error voltage is 20 millivolt approximately. So this voltage is the output of the amplifier. So I'm going to return to 0 now. So it is possible to check now if the output voltage is really 12 millivolt per foot. For that purpose, I will use a digital display. It is the manometer which is included here, so it is more accurate than the other one. The pressure is 0 millibar currently, and the output voltage close to 0. Will perform a null. Okay, so I will open the loop. The motor will be disconnected from the servo control loop. And I will increase the pressure in order to have 1 volt on the DMM. So this thing is very sensitive. Okay, so the equivalent pressure is minus 3 millibar. So the accuracy is not good because it is on the resolution of the instrument here. You can estimate this thing, the equivalent altitude. So from this table, it is always the same table here. From 0 to 1000 feet, there is a variation of 36 millibars here. Okay. So if I divide 36 by 3, this will give 12. And if I divide 1000 by 12, 1000 divided by 12 equals 83 feet. So variation of pressure of 3 millibars correspond to the variation of altitude of 83 feet. And we have to check if 1 volt corresponds to this. And actually it is the case because if I divide 1 volt by 12 millivolts, 1 divided by 12 millivolts, this gives 83. So effectively the sensitivity is equal to 12 millivolts per feet. So the sensitivity is correct. I will reconnect the servo control loop. Okay. We can check also the maximum altitude which is possible to reach with this instrument. It is difficult to have a vacuum better than that with this system. .07 bar or something like that. So this is equivalent to an absolute pressure of 300 millibars. So the equivalent altitude is 30,000 feet approximately. But I cannot have a better vacuum with this system. So it is not possible to check the limit. And this was the test of this altitude sensor. Thanks for watching and see you next time for another video. Bye.